I dreamed someone stood at the foot of my bed and tapped 3 times on my ankle. I woke, heart racing, and my phone buzzed with a new photo, taken from inside my house. It showed the same footboard, the same floor, and a boot print I had not seen in the morning. My name is Mark L. I live in Yonkers, New York. I work days at an accounts office and cook for myself at night. I like small routines, a coffee from the Dunkin' on Ashburton, the hum of the old freezer in the kitchen, walking past the river at dusk. I sleep alone in a second-floor apartment above a laundromat. It's quiet, mostly ordinary. A few months ago, I started having a dream. It was the same dream every week. I walk into my bedroom. The lamp is on. The mattress is made. There's a pair of muddy boots on the rug. A voice says my name. It's not quite a voice, more like someone breathing the syllables. I wake up before I see the face. I chalked it up to stress. Work was busy. I was tired. At first it was annoying, then it got precise. In the dream, the boots had a nick on the left heel. The rug had a coffee stain shaped like a crescent. The voice, if you could call it that, whispered, "Too quiet." I began to notice small things in the day that matched the dream. A crescent stain on the rug I had never noticed. A scratch on the bed frame I hadn't paid attention to. I made coffee in the morning and told myself I was seeing patterns where there were none. Then a second oddity. I bought a cheap motion camera from Best Buy. It faces the hallway and records to the cloud. Mostly it shows me coming and going. It's dull. Useful when I lose my keys. A week after the dream pattern got sharper, I checked the recordings the morning after a bad night's sleep. At 3:07 a.m., the hallway is dark. The camera is steady. Then at 3:44, the frame flutters and a pale shape blurs past the edge. Not a full body, just a curve of cloth in the doorway. The feed stops. The camera logs a motion event and uploads a thumbnail. I watch it on my phone. It's barely anything, but my stomach drops. I told myself to call the police. I told myself I was being paranoid. I waited. The next night, I dreamed the same scene. This time, the dream included a detail I had never noticed before, a small coin on the floor by the boots, brass and rimmed with dirt. I woke up half sobbing, and I found a coin on my kitchen counter. Not mine. Old, heavy, caked with mud. I don't collect coins. I don't know how it got there. I put the coin in an envelope and took it to the station. The officer looked at the camera clip and frowned. He said someone could have come in through the basement door and left. He wrote a report and left. He suggested better locks. He asked if I'd changed routines. I felt ridiculous listing dreams to a man in a uniform. He told me to be careful. He left. After that, I slept with the hallway light on and the camera rolling. The dreams continued. Each dream gave me a new detail. A scuff on the boot toe, the timing of the taps, 3 taps on the ankle. I began to time my sleep. At 3:07, I would wake and stare at the bedroom door. I listened for the steps. I listened for the taps. Nothing. Then the phone buzzed. A new photo, taken at 3:07:12. It was bright in a way the hallway isn't. The image shows my footboard, the crescent stain, and a single boot print in the dust by the bed. The tread matches the smear the camera caught last week. It faces away from the hallway, toward the bed. My hand shook so hard I spilled coffee on the table. I called the police again. They came. They dusted. They found prints under the lamp, one set only. They took measurements. They told me the prints could belong to someone wearing old work boots. They asked if I'd been away, if I had visitors. I said no. They left with the prints bagged. No suspects, no witnesses. I moved out 2 weeks later. I told myself leaving would end it. I packed bags, left the coin in the envelope at the station, and slept in a different place. For months, I tried to forget. The dreams faded. Then, last month, I got a photo message with no number. The image was my old bedroom. The lamp was on. In the dust by the bed was a fresh boot print. It had the same nick on the left heel. I never found out who was standing in that doorway. The police closed the case. My friends laugh when I tell them. Maybe it was a trespasser. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe I made the story to fill the silence. But some things feel too precise for coincidence. The coin, the tread, the timing, the taps. Some nights when I wake at 3:07, I still press my foot to the floor and wait for the 3 soft taps I keep dreaming. because I'm tired of being the only one awake when someone else is standing in my house. I know dreams can feel real, but this one felt wrong. Because when I woke up, the thing I saw in the dream, its hand, was still pressed against the inside of my bedroom window. The glass was fogged where it touched. My name is Daniel M. I live in Binghamton, New York. Nothing special about my life. I work nights stocking shelves at a Wegmans off Front Street. I get home around 2 a.m. most nights, heat up leftovers, watch something mindless on Hulu, and crash. Same routine for years. Predictable, comforting, distant refrigerator. About a month ago, I started waking up more tired than when I went to sleep. I blamed it on the night shift. Then something small caught my attention. My bedroom door, usually cracked open, was fully shut every morning. I thought I was doing it without realizing. Habit, sleepwalking, something harmless. But it still bothered me a little, casual but uneasy. 2 weeks later, I had my first dream. I dreamed I was standing in my own bedroom doorway, looking at myself sleeping. The room was quiet, except for the hum from the old floor heater. In the dream, I leaned forward. I watched myself breathe. I counted the breaths. Then something behind me whispered, "Move." I woke up with my heart pounding, but I shrugged it off. Stress, bad sleep, nothing more. But the dreams kept returning, each one a little clearer. I saw more details, the way my blankets folded, the reflection of the streetlight on the wall, the exact sound of my own breathing, and always that whisper behind me saying move, like someone was inches from the back of my neck. I told myself it was just anxiety. That worked until last week. That's when the dream changed. I dreamed I woke up but couldn't move, sleep paralysis maybe. I was lying in bed frozen, staring at the ceiling. Then I heard the whisper again. Not behind me this time, at the window. Slow, breathless. Move. My eyes shifted enough to see a shape standing at the window. Tall, too tall. Its head was pressed to the glass like it was trying to see inside my mind. I felt its breath fog the pain. I tried to scream but couldn't even open my jaw. The figure tapped once on the window with a long, pale finger. Then everything went black. I woke sore, drenched in sweat. My window was fogged over from the inside, which didn't make sense. I don't sleep with the heat high. But I told myself it was nothing, just my breath, just fear residuals, something rational. Then the second strange thing happened. I checked my phone. There was a photo in my camera roll taken at 3:31 a.m. The time I had the dream. The photo was of my bedroom, blurry, tilted, but you could make out the window and the faint outline of a hand pressed against it. I don't know what scared me more, the hand or the fact the angle looked like it was taken from my own chest, like I had sat up, snapped the picture, and laid back down without waking up. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want people thinking I needed help or meds. I convinced myself the image was a glitch, a bug, a corrupted file. Then last night happened. In the dream, I was awake again but unable to move. The window slid open, not all at once, just an inch at a time, like someone was being careful not to make noise. The figure stepped inside, bare feet, long arms. It leaned over me. Its face dipped toward mine and whispered, "I told you to move." I woke gasping. My bedroom window was open a crack. The air was freezing. And on the floor, right beneath the window, were wet footprints. Bare. Human. Leading halfway across the room, stopping right beside my bed. I cleaned the prints. I locked the window. I told myself I must have opened it in my sleep. That the prints were mine somehow. That I'd stepped in spilled water. Anything but the truth that keeps knocking around in my head. Because now every night when I lie down, I swear I hear breathing at the window. And I'm scared to fall asleep because whatever I keep dreaming about seems to be getting closer every single time. I dreamed my bedroom door opened and someone stood in the doorway, holding my phone. They raised it and took a picture of my sleeping face. When I woke, my phone had a new photo, taken at exactly 3:12 a.m., showing me asleep. My name is Alex H. I live in Albany, New York. I work days at a small printing shop on Central Avenue. My routine is simple: coffee at the Dunkin' on the corner, lunch from the deli across the street, and a quiet night in. TV, a microwave dinner, and sleep. My apartment is above a laundromat. The building hums all night. The hum is part of the comfort, distant hum of washers. A few months ago, I began having the same dream. I walk into my own bedroom and everything is normal. The lamp is on. The fan turns slowly, but there's a shadow near the foot of the bed. I wake before I see who it is. I told myself it was stress from work. Bad nights happen. The dreams got more specific. The shadow wore heavy boots in the dream. They left a small crescent scuff on the rug. I started seeing that crescent during the day in the dust by my bed. I thought I was being suggestible, looking for a detail because the dream told me to. Still, I put a cheap motion camera in the hallway. A Wise camera, pointed at the doorway, set to upload any motion. I slept with it on and watched the cloud feed each morning like a nervous parent. Then real things began to follow the dream. First, a muddy smear on the welcome mat, not mine. I stood in my socks and pressed my hand to it. Cold, dried mud. Second, a small coin on the kitchen counter one morning. Tarnished, not one I recognized. I pocketed it and laughed nervously. Maybe a neighbor left it. Maybe I wandered sleepwalking. I wanted rational answers. I asked friends. They told me to breathe, to relax, to stop checking the camera at 3 a.m. I tried. The dreams changed. In the dream, the figure stood closer. The boots had a nick on the sole. The person tapped 3 times on the bed frame. I woke from that dream with my heart racing and my sheets tangled. I checked the camera footage. At 3:12 a.m., the feed shows the hallway dark. The timestamp flickers. Then for 1 second, there's a blur at the edge, like a sleeve passing. The motion sensor didn't trigger fully, but the camera recorded a tiny file. I saved it and watched it a dozen times until the grains made me dizzy. I called the police. They came, looked at the footage on my phone, and combed the apartment. They found nothing. No forced entry. No prints on the window. They suggested maybe someone had peeked in from outside or a prank. They filed a report and said they'd increase patrols. It felt like theater. I wanted them to tell me someone had been outside, caught on camera, and arrested. That didn't happen. The night after the police left, I dreamed the tapping again. This time the tap was on my ankle. I woke sweating. My phone buzzed at 3:12 with a notification, a new photo. I opened it with trembling hands. It was grainy and dark, but you could see the angle, my bed from the footboard. The image was taken from low to the ground. At the bottom edge, clear as day, was the sole of a boot with a nick on the heel. I set the phone down and couldn't breathe. I installed better locks. I changed my routine. I slept with the lights on. I moved the camera to catch more of the room. The dreams didn't stop. If anything, they got closer. I began to wake before the dream ended, a sensation like someone had been inches away, like breath on the back of my neck. On the 5th night, I woke and found a fresh boot mark in the dust by the bed. It was small, a clear tread pattern, and it matched the nick in the photo. I moved out a week later. I took what I could carry and left the rest. I changed my locks, changed my number, and stayed with a friend until I found a new place. The police closed the file with no further leads. My friend stopped asking. Life went on. But the dreams follow. Sometimes I wake up in a new apartment and the same shape stands in the doorway of my mind. I check my phone. No new photos, no new prints. I try to tell myself it's over. I try to sleep. And still, when I lie down, there's a small, ridiculous hope that if I move first, if I'm the one who taps the bed frame, whatever was waiting won't have to. Because I don't know which is worse, being the one who wakes someone or waking to find someone already awake beside you.